Recording is about to start.
Please go ahead.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Minister, my name is Harry Benson. I'm research director for a charity called Marriage Foundation in the UK. So I'm supposed to be something of an expert on marriage. Much more importantly, I've been married for nearly 35 years and I have 6 children in their 20s. So I think that qualifies me much more than my day job. With us, we've got Frank Young, who is a friend and colleague from the Centre for Social Justice. And he is an expert on family policy. And I've worked and known him for several years. So he's a good guy. And this will be a very friendly chat.
Yes, very much so.
And I'm just going to break into the limit of my Hungarian, Jó napot.
Oh, great.
I had 4 Hungarian au pairs with my 6 children, and they only taught me boldog szülőnapot and egészségedre, and that was about it. So thank you so much for speaking English. I've been looking forward to meeting you for a long time because Hungary has had very fast rise in marriage rates. And I've actually just updated my data from Eurostat, 70% increase in marriage rates in the last 5 years, which is phenomenal. So I must congratulate you on that. Would you like to tell us a little bit about your family policies and why you think marriage rates have gone up so much?
So thank you so much, Mr. Benson, for your interest and you all. I'm very privileged that we can speak with each other, and I'm more than happy to share our experience. I myself have also been married for almost 20 years now. So even if I have less experience in that sense than you, but still, I think 2 decades. I mean that already. That's not a bad beginning, let's say, and we have 3 children with my husband, so we also experience on a daily basis what it means to be married and to live in a large family, which we very much enjoy most of the time, let's say. The reason why I think it is so important that we start with these personal aspects is that that's one of the characteristics of our government, that we don't only speak about the importance of family life, but we ourselves, the members of the government, for example, do it on a daily basis and in practice. You know that our Prime Minister has got 5 children with his wife, and they've been married for I don't even know how long, but for a long time. So 5 kids from the same wife, that is also characteristic to most of our government members, that they live in large families. Some of them with 3, some of them with 4, or even 5 or more children. So it's really our everyday reality to live in marriage, to raise children. And what our family policies are concerned, we do really a lot of things. So I of course cannot draw you a total picture of our family policies in a short discussion, but I can highlight some elements of having children, and we think that we have to face our demographic difficulties with our demographic challenges, which we all have in the modern part of the world. Let's say, if we call it modern, call it whatever, let's say developed part of the world, we all have problems with not having enough children, with having very poor marriage rates, with very poor fertility rates as well. And so we said that we have to overcome this very difficult situation, even if we have had it for for right now for 4 decades that we have a declining population. And so we said that we support childbearing. We try to enable young people, young adults, to have as many children as they want to. So we don't push them, we don't engage them, encourage them, we just enable them to fulfill their dreams. And the good news is, I mean, that was the bad news, that we have a very poor demographic situation in Hungary. But the good news is that Hungarian young people are very pro-family. And we just finished a huge research when we ask, that's a representative research, when we ask 8,000 youngsters in Hungary. Every 4th year we do this research, this huge research in the country, and also 4,000 young Hungarians outside the borders. And so we ask them many questions. So it's a huge research. We call it the research of the young, let's say, every 4th year. And there we always have questions or topics about family issues and childbearing and getting married and so on. And I have to tell you that marriage is still very popular among the young people. So 9 youngsters out of 10 plan to get married, and that's how they envisage their own future lives. And I think that is the important point, because that means that we have to help them. We have to enable them to really live up to these own expectations of theirs, and to be able to get married even at a young age. I mean, meaning that of course after 18, but like in the 20s, and to have families, to found a family, and to have children. What you said about the marriage rates, it's even better than what you mentioned. So if we compare the last year's results to the one 10 years ago, so to 2010, when we actually started our governance in the first, I mean, the first consecutive term, the first one of these 3 consecutive terms, then the marriage rate was half as much as it is right now. So it actually doubled in 10 years. So it's even a huger increase than in the last years it was. So there is, I would say, there is now the renaissance or the real popularity of getting married in Hungary. And I would name 2 main reasons for that. One is the financial incentive. So I don't want to hide that it also has a financial background, which is understandable and normal, and there's nothing bad in that. That we give financial incentives, that we give financial support, and many of these financial supports are linked to marriage. We differentiate upon the following thing, that once a child is born, then no matter if the parents are married or are just living together, or that's a single mom or a single dad, they are entitled to all these family benefits. So we don't differentiate between married and non-married couples or families once the child is there. But if the child is not born yet, but they, let's say, they sign up for having children in the future, then they should necessarily be married, and they can get benefit of almost the same family supports once they don't have the child or the children, but they want to have them in the future, or as if they had them already. So I will tell you an example. For example, we have this, we call it in Hungarian, it sounds a little bit better than in English, but it's like the baby expecting bond, we call it. It is a financial support of 10 million forints, which means that it's like around 30,000 euros. And you can get this 30,000 euros once you get married and the woman is below 41. And if you just get this credit, that's a credit without an interest rate, a general purpose credit. So they can really use it for anything they want without an interest rate. And then once the first child comes, then after the first trimester, we suspend the payback of the credit for 3 years. So they don't have to pay for 3 years. But then when the second child comes, then again for 3 years, they don't have to pay. And we decrease the credit by 30%. And what
Oh dear.
I think we're between signals.
Yes.
Here we go.
okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
I mean, we've got the policies when you get the second child reduced by 30% and the third child, you
I
remove
was frozen. Yeah.
together.
So the second child, you again for 3 years you don't have to pay back, and we decrease the credit by 30%. And once the third child arrives, then you don't have to pay back anything anymore. So we totally write off the credit to zero. And that, I mean, can you believe that being a young couple, I mean, just look back or think back to your at time young person, young possibilities. That I mean that was before it was incredible for anybody that you can really start your own private lives together with such a financial support. So it's you can get again another 30,000 euros in order to buy or build a new house or a flat. So we have many financial incentives which are accessible at the moment when you decide when the young married couple decides to build or found a family, and they just sign up for having children. So they say that okay, we will have 1, 2, 3 children in the future, and that's number one. So the financial incentives, let's not forget it, that it is meaningful. But the other one, yes. I think it is as important as the first one. That's the mentality itself. So the value basis that we not only support financially those who get married and have children, but we also speak about the importance of living in families, to get married. We put in our constitution the protection of the marriage as the union of one man and one woman. We have the legal protection, and we also we are also trying to encourage through family organizations, through the different companies, through our administration, and so on and so on. So all over, everywhere, this family-oriented mentality, and we speak constantly about the value of getting married or the marriage itself. We show role models who speak about the marriage. For example, each and every year in February we have the month of the marriage, and also the week of the marriage, which is very important. And that's that is a very popular event when we also, from the governmental side, we financially support many civic initiatives which speak about the beauty and sometimes the difficulties, but the importance of marriage. So these are the main points where I see that the results have something to do with our governmental initiatives.
Minister, I think it's very impressive, really impressive, and we respect very much what you've achieved. I'd like to know what downsides you think you see, and who has lost out as a result of this policy, because that's always important to see people who don't benefit from these policies. And I know, talking from my Hungarian friend last week, she said a couple of things, but the most important was that for the housing loan, because house prices have gone up, possibly as a result of the extra money from your policies, they have to have equity in order to to get extra equity to be able to afford these these new houses. Do you see that has been a problem, or are there any other problems that you've faced so far? Microphone. There we go.
Yes. So we get many critics, of course, and some. I mean, most of these critics are, I think, unbased, because what we do is let's say we have a positive discrimination for those who for example, get married or have children, and it doesn't mean that somebody just. I mean, if anybody stays out, then it's his or her decision most of the time. Of course, there are infertility problems, and there we also try to help. But in principle, we really give the chance for everybody to take their own choices. But what we are trying to do in Hungary is we are trying to compensate. That's all, because you know how many disadvantages someone has once having a family and raising children. Financial disadvantages, disadvantages at the workplace, disadvantages at some points of acknowledgement, and so on. So it is much more trying to dismantle these disadvantages and trying to compensate these disadvantages other than to giving like extra support, because still families without children still live better off right now than those with children in Hungary and all over, because it costs a lot of money to raise a child, and who is entitled, who is not. Let's say these barriers are really very low. What we introduced in Hungary, an important principle, I admit it, and it's true, and we did it voluntarily. That's we link the family benefits to work, and that's it. You don't need anything else, but you have to work. So I would say that you have to take your part of so you have to contribute yourself to the economy, to the welfare of the society, and that's it. And once let's put aside the coronavirus crisis and this whole period of time that we are experiencing right now, but let's put this aside, and then we had in Hungary an unemployment rate of 3%. When we started our governance, it was over 11%. Right now, I mean, before the COVID, we had 3% of unemployment. Once you have 3% unemployment, I think you can really introduce such a principle to link family benefits to work, and to say that you have to take your part and you have to contribute, and also, which is at least as important as the financial contribution, you also have to show a good example to your children. Because I mean, if the parents don't go to work, if the parents are entitled for all social benefits, even without doing anything, then it happened in Hungary, actually. So we experienced it, and we saw that there was a whole generation growing up without ever seeing their parents going to work. There were mostly Roma children in Hungary, where the parents lost their jobs and they never looked for another one. They had many children, so they were entitled for a huge amount of family social benefits, and that had very difficult, long-lasting consequences. So that's I would say the only point where we really await something from those who want to take advantage of all these benefits.
And what are you planning to do when the policy comes to the end of its 3-year phase next year? Are you planning to continue the policies, or what?
You know, we have elections next year, so it depends on, of course, on the outcome of the elections. Well, we ever since we started our governance, we never ended any kind of financial family support. So we are ready to continue, because we consider this being the best investment ever. We invest, and I don't say spend or or give out or anything. So it's not an expenditure; it's an investment. We invest now over 5% of our GDP for family support. This year is 5.1% of our GDP. It's like the highest ever, and the highest, the number one all over the world. And it is 2.5 times as much as it used to be in absolute numbers than 10 years ago. So we want to keep this investment so high, and even are ready to increase it, because I mean, if you don't have children, if you don't have strong families, then there is no point in doing anything in education, in economy, or on anything else. I mean, that's the 0 point. That's the most important.
Very interesting. Frank, have you got any questions?
Well, conscious of time, but I'm fascinated by it all, and I'm particularly interested in your 8,000 person research project, and just wondering whether it's possible to see that, whether that's publicly available. I'd be very interested in that research project.
I would be happy to share it with you. We have it for the moment. We have it in Hungarian, but we can make at least a short summary in English for you. But also, I mean, if you look at if you just look at the pictures and the graphs and so on, then you can. I mean, we will translate them to you, and maybe not the whole explanation, but yourself as researchers, you will draw even better consequences from the graphs as we do. So we are happy to share them with you. And also, I would like to draw your attention to an institute we have. We founded this institute now, I think 3 or 4 years ago. Sorry for not being so precise, but that was my initiative to really found an institute which concentrates only on demography and family policies, and which is, let's say, a research institute of the government. I mean, it is government owned research institute. It is called in Hungarian, it's called Kincs, which means in Hungarian treasure, but it's an abbreviation. That is a Kopp Mária Institute for Research for Family and Demography, or demography and family. And the reason behind this name is that we had a very, very famous and great couple, a married couple actually, who were themselves sociologists. I'm sorry, both, and they studied family oriented. So they did family oriented research, great ones, really interesting. And so this institute is named after the woman who was great, Kopp Mária. And I just, in parentheses, I just mentioned it to you that, for example, when we give prizes, it just came into my mind when we speak about family, that, for example, if we want to acknowledge somebody by giving a prize, like a governmental prize, also married couples can be entitled for it. So it's not only one person who can get a prize, but also married couples. We do that every year, that they are acknowledged together for their common commitment. And I think it is also symbolic, but important. So this institute of Kopp Mária Institute, our ambassador will share you any detail in this matter as well, whom to contact and how to. But I think it would be great if you two got in touch with each other, because we have there many researchers. Even we can start some common initiatives or do anything together. So this is precisely there for this institute to be a little bit more policy oriented research institute, backing our everyday work.
This is all absolutely fantastic. You're a real family and marriage champion.
Thank you. Thank you, really. I mean, we very much appreciate your acknowledgement, because you know, you see, I think, and even in international media, of course, always we are attacked for driving such a or having such a kind of family policy. I always give interviews to international journalists of all kinds, and they are very critical. They just can't stand that some government is so outspokenly for the families, and I think that's an important element at the end, that we are really outspokenly for the family. So we don't hide at all these intentions of ours of protecting and promoting family life.
Just one thing before you go. Marriage rates have been rising across Eastern Europe. Do you have any sense of whether that's driven by policy as it is in Hungary?
The decrease, you mean? Or
No, marriage rates have gone up across most of Eastern Europe, not as much as in your country.
Sorry, I didn't hear the beginning. Yes, I think it has something to do with the policies, but also with the traditions and the mentality we have. So we don't overwrite our traditions. Let's say, if we are traditionally family friendly, we don't force the young people to change this. And I think that is what's happening in the western part of Europe and the world, that young people are given not only the example, but and be advised, but it's much more brutal than that. So they are very much influenced to give up their traditional and natural family orientation. And I think that is they are forced to do it. I mean, that's the impulse they get from all over, and I think that we don't really have this in Eastern Europe. So we preserve our cultural heritage more, and we are proud of it, and I think it helps in that sense as well.
Minister, it's been a great privilege to listen to you, and I hope very much that when this pandemic is over, we'll have the pleasure of meeting you in person.
Yes.
I very much do hope so, and thank you so much, really, and it was for me a pleasure. Thank you, Ambassador, also for organizing this meeting, and hopefully we'll see each other either in the UK or in Budapest. You are all, so whenever you wish, you are welcome.
That's very kind.
Thank you, thank you, Minister.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you all. I'm going to switch off the recording now.
Thank you.